So I got my GoPro there, power plugged into the extra battery pack connector, and microphone plugged into the connector where the power would normally go if I didn't have the extra battery pack. And then up the shaft here I have a shotgun microphone, and over here is a preamp. So this is the shotgun microphone here. I got this off a VCR, or a a big VHS camcorder from the late 80s. And I also took the electronics out of the camcorder, and I built my own circuit board that this microphone plugs into, this with a little mono 2.5 millimeter jack. So I got all that circuitry out of the camcorder and built my own little circuit board that could then be powered with the 9-volt battery. In the setup here, though, I just hooked up a 9-volt DC wall wart and a battery snap and have it hooked in there. I think I have a capacitor inside this tape too, just to kind of help smooth the crappy 9-volt wall wart a little bit better. And then this yellow wire that's holding it onto this piece of plexiglass that I have it mounted to just runs down the shaft and into the adapter for the microphone on the GoPro. I found the GoPro microphone didn't work very well, and so I have a wireless microphone that I use with this sometimes, but it seemed clunky and difficult for me to always be putting on the wireless mic when I'm just trying to do a quick repair or something in the shop. So I found this microphone in a bunch of junk I had from when I was in my 20s and decided it would work. So I rigged up the power supply and got it working. I built this plexiglass mount to go on a tripod, so that I could put the GoPro or the microphone on a tripod and then put a camera also on it. So that way I could have both the shotgun microphone and a camera or something on the same tripod. What I need to do is I need to get this thing in a box so that the circuitry is just not flopping out in the wind. It's nice to have it be able to use the 9-volt battery when I'm in the field and I have no power supply, but when I'm in the shop I want to be able to use a wall type power supply. I have ordered a box for this with a compartment to put the 9-volt in, and it should be large enough to house the electronics. I'm trying to decide whether to have the 2.5 millimeter jack kind of hang out the side and let this plug in like it did on the camcorder back in the 80s, or not. I'm going to try and reverse engineer this circuit. I cannot find the schematic I had when I was in my 20s, so we'll have to do some reverse engineering, and I'll show you the circuit board also. Alright, so I need to extend the wires on the battery clips. I'm going to unsolder that, and I'm going to do as small holes possible that I can cock up in the front panel so I can run this yellow wire through. So I'm going to desolder that too. And then when I cut it, I shaved it a little tight and I cut off my ground plane along the edge here, so I'm going to put a jumper wire in there for that. The board's missing a lot of copper. I think I kind of remember that I was etching it with another board, and I wasn't really paying that close of attention to it because I wasn't really going to use it at the time. And so it's not the best looking PC board in the world, but she's a working, so I'm going to keep using her. How to bring that ground back to looking good. Yeah, I think I got enough to poke it through a little bit. Pokey pokey. Pokey pokey. Pokey pokey. If I can just measure right. Might take that nub off. Get that little nub there where you're supposed to put your PC board. But my PC board doesn't have any holes, so that nub's in the way. Scratchy tool. Scratchy, scratchy. Scratchy, scratchy, scratchy. Scratchy, scratchy. Here we go, wiring harness out of a microwave. Need a bit of black and a bit of red. Captain. Back to the recycling bin with you. My drill won't clamp onto these little tiny drill bits that I got, so I use a mandrel, and you can use these by hand with just by turning them, but I'm pretty lazy, so I chuck them up in my drill. hooked up to where the little jack works for the microphone. Got the jack for the external power supply, and we got the coax cable that runs down to the GoPro or whatever other camera you're using. I have another little Panasonic, I think, and then I don't think my Sony that the battery's dead on right now has an external mic in, but I could be wrong. I just probably should read the manual. Nicer. A lot nicer. Kind of put it upside down. I'm shooting if it rains a little bit. Won't have to worry about it shorting out. Can figure out some way to attach it up here. Probably just Velcro. Probably just put some Velcro on it and stick it up there. But definitely like that a lot better. Okay, you notice the switch has 3 terminals. Or it's not a switch, it's a DC input jack coming in from a wall wart. This particular one has three terminals. Look down in here, a little side that's open down in there, and it's sticking down a little bit. And what happens is that causes it to flip a switch. When you push in the thing, it causes the switch to be opened. So when I have my connector out, my 9-volt battery will be active, flowing through here. When I put my DC power in, it'll turn off the 9-volt battery, supply the power to the circuit that way. Okay, hopefully we can see this. Here's the shotgun microphone input. And you got a ground, and then you got a little switch here that's also tied to ground, and then you got the tip contact. So when the microphone is not inserted in here, it grounds the input, so it cuts down, so no noise will happen on the output because it's pulled to ground. But when it's inserted in, then you get the signal from the microphone down here and into the preamp chip. This is a Hitachi hybrid chip, and I couldn't find any information on it on the internet, and I swear I had a book with some information in it, but I can't find the book now. So, but this is kind of what's inside the chip. So basically, it comes in, it's one transistor, gets amplified, the second transistor gets amplified more, comes out. Pretty simple. So here's the output out to the GoPro. We had the 9-volt snap that went to a little 5.6 volt DC regulator, a little inductor, and a little diode, and then a filter cap before it went in to the chip and drove the chip. What we did here was we took that, and actually this is different now because the way the switch worked is it was the negative side that was being switched, but it's same general idea. It's just I drew it here as positive, going through the switch when nothing's hooked up and into the circuit. And then we wanted to add this cap. It said 470, but I wound up using a 1000 microfarad because that's what I had. It doesn't really matter. We just want to filter it when the DC supply is plugged in because those wall warts are notoriously noisy. I measured it, it was like 14 volt. So when the wall wart's plugged in, we break the switch, the plus, or in the case of the one I bought, the minus will flow through the system. If I was going to build this circuit today, I would probably, since you won't be able to get this Hitachi chip, I think I would use a circuit like this. And you know, you wouldn't put it on the hybrid, you would just build it all into a circuit board. So there's your circuit. It's just a single IC. The NE5532 seems to be a fairly popular preamplifier chip, and then you just need a few components around it. This chip will probably run just fine on 9 volts, so wouldn't really even need this regulator and stuff. I just did this because I pulled all the parts out of the camcorder that I pulled the chip out of and the microphone off of. I also wanted to point out this little section down here. This shows how the USB to microphone cable is wired for the GoPro. So there's a female 3.5 millimeter jack with a stereo connection or 2 connections. These roll to the microphone input pins. 6 is plus, 7 is minus, and 8 is ground. So you see the ground on the 3.5 is going to 8. 6 is plus, it's on the tip. 7 is minus on the ring. You notice I didn't have my ring hooked up here because I'm running unbalanced. If I put some more circuitry in here I could run balanced, but it works just fine unbalanced. So don't be afraid if you got only 2 wires and you're running unbalanced. We can get into the whole balanced unbalanced thing. I'm not going very far to the camera, so unbalanced is fine. If I was going 600 feet to the camcorder, I would want to run balanced. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I'm also on Patreon.